dedicated to areas of the country like yours that especially experienced the China shock to rejuvenating the manufacturing base there.
Ms. Fischbach.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Mr. Secretary, I would like to also thank you and just tell you what an incredible job you're doing, and really appreciate that you are here, even on so little sleep, here in front of the committee. And we kind of know how you feel since we did our 18-hour stint a couple of weeks ago now. But sincerely, just thank you and thank you. And yeah. Just so you know, I represent a very rural district in western Minnesota, and I also border Canada, so I share the concerns that Ms. Tenney does. And you know, agriculture is the major driver of our economy in my area, and small businesses, and they're the lifeblood of, you know, the economy there, but across America. And I know that Mr. Stube and Ms. Tenney both asked about small businesses and with the advantages in the tax bill and what would happen if they didn't. But if you could, not only those small businesses, if you maybe would expand on what would happen to our farming industry, what would happen to our farm communities if we didn't pass this bill, if it didn't it become law?
Well, Congresswoman, as you may or may not know, I am a farmer and grew up in a rural area. And so let's talk about the positive and then the cataclysmic. The positive is that we are working very hard at Treasury to reinvigorate our community banks and small banks, that they are responsible for 70% of ag lending, 40% of real estate lending, and 30% of small business lending. So I think that's one of the best things that we can do. We are in our trade negotiations. We are constantly pushing to open other markets that have high non-tariff barriers or sometimes tariff barriers on American agricultural products and we are pushing substantial purchase agreements for American farmers. On the other side, that no one will do well if the one big beautiful bill fails. That the largest tax increase in history does not help anyone, and I am sure that farmers who are working people, farmers occupy a special place because they are working people, but they are also small business people, and they are sophisticated. They have large equipment needs, so the immediate expensing for new equipment. I had some business people tell me earlier this week that they were waiting for the tax bill. They know that they're going to be able to get 100% expensing for the tax bill. As President Trump said in his address to Congress, it will be retroactive to January 20th, but they need 100% certainty because, as I'm sure so many of your constituents operate on razor-thin margins, that without the surety of the tax bill, without knowing they're going to get the 100% expensing, that they will not be able to buy the new equipment that will give higher yields.
Well, and thank you, Mr. Secretary, and I appreciate your comments on capital, because that is one of the challenges, not just for the ag community, but the communities in general, is that capital expenditure. There's not as much available in rural areas, and so I appreciate your work with those smaller banks and trying to open markets. But just one other thing I wanted to ask about, you know, the Biden administration and, you know, the 45Z provision in the reconciliation bill, and the Biden administration failed to finalize guidance on 45Z, and it's created, you know, serious issues and uncertainty in the biofuels industry. And you know, you mentioned the uncertainty, and we're feeling the uncertainty of that with the biofuel plants. And so can I get a commitment from you to expedite the process of finalizing the guidance for 45Z? And can I also ask that you would work with myself and other members of this committee to make the credit the strongest it can be for American farmers?
Yes, so I am happy to put my staff in contact with yours immediately. We want to get this done quickly. What we are trying to do is to make sure that 45C is more of a North American product, and that there are not overseas actors, specifically Chinese companies, that backdoor into it through Mexico.
Well,
So we will work quickly with your staff on that.
Absolutely, and I would love to be part of that process, because we need to do this for our farmers, and I am over time. With that, I yield back, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Schneider, you were recognized.